Good morning, everyone. Hey, Badir, Jiraj, Ian, Joe. Oh, boy. Okay. How you guys doing? Oh, I hope you watched the weekend update. I got a severe case of holiday brain this morning. Hey, Tim, how you doing? Raj, what's up, brother? So, despite all the news, we opened inside Friday's range. The cool thing about market profile, and I'm going to make this a little bigger. Where's my pointing sticky thing here? All right. So, first of all, overnight inventory is almost 90% long because all of the trading is above Friday's close. We did get a backfill to Friday's close, like I said. All right. We opened up here. You guys would call that a gap. What do you guys call that? Like, I only consider it a gap when it opens here or here, but you guys have a term when it gaps away from the close. It's like a Cool Ranch gap or something like that. You guys have all these terms. Anyway, all that happened in that opening auction pre-market was bids came in, they opened the market up, sold it down, tested the close. Overnight lows, just a couple of ticks underneath the close, right? And we've got this weird profile, which is filling in these old single prints from two trading sessions ago. The other nice thing about profile is you can see the top of the cost basis is here from Friday. The bottom of tonight's cost basis is, ooh, how coincidental, right at the top of Friday. So we are distributing not much, and we've only traded 69,000 contracts. So we're selling those contracts that we had to take in on Friday, right? But very slow, right? And as you can see in the 1 minute candle chart when we go to it, you'll see that business is slow tonight, right? Now, the reason it's slow is even though everybody comes to work today on Monday. Hey, Dan. Hey, good to have you with us, Dan. Travis, what's up? Um, Everybody does come back to work on Monday, but not at 3 o'clock in the morning, right? So, as the day progresses, let's see if that overnight low holds, right? London is going to open in, what, half an hour here? So, London usually, I can't remember what the stat is. Somebody actually posted the stats and I forgot to write it down like an idiot. Um, London usually likes to move lower, grab some cheap inventory, right? Shake it out a little bit. Let's see if that happens, right? Um, and we could come down and test the close on the overnight low again. Otherwise, I think it's just going to go sideways and just we have sellers at 16. There's like a wall of sellers at 16 and at 14. I'll show you in a second. So I left the old down single prints from the 31st, right? Remember, we filled the gap on the 31st, and we traded 7.5 hours in these old single prints. You'll also notice that the K high from Friday stopped short. This is supply. So we're just going back and forth in this area right now. The 1 minute candle chart shows that it's kind of choppy, right? We have those sellers from back on the 2nd. They're still there, right? So there's still sell orders. We can't get above 12, then 14. We looked above 14 for a little bit, came back down. VWAP is right there, which is complicating everything. There's bids at 69.05. What my thesis is, if we can break this 69.05, right? you'll notice that you'll see some volume bars. The cost basis is here. We'll come back down into this 6900 area and test it. So a lot of this morning, hey Ryan, what's up? Yeah, coffee. I'm on my first cup of coffee here. Trying to get my brain going. And yeah, we just need more customers in the store, right? Hey AZS, how you doing? Was it 40 or 60%? It's a good amount of it's a good number where London will correct inventory lower. Just because London, they're like me, like they like to shake it out, get some cheap stuff, and then go sell it higher, right? In micro cap trading and small cap trading, shaking the tree is a very common thing. This sort of happens just because people just they're tired. Like if you were 69.10 long, right? Yeah, that whole number, right? Uh, there was this German stock promoter. We used to call him the baker because he actually was a baker in a prior life, and he would always call them yeah the mother levels 6900. It's a nice round number, right? Remember Danny DeVito and other people's money? I like round numbers. So let's see if we can come and tag 6900. Last time we came down there, we tagged the close on S period. U period couldn't get down. I left the old, this is the old POC from Thursday night. I know I'm leaving a lot of old references because it's a brand new year. And see, here we go. Here we go. Let's test that 6905 bid. I better open up my trading software and try to do some work today. Hang on. Where is it? There we go. All right. I'm doing a lot of watching, right? So it is the first true week of the year. Plus, y'all went and, you know, did some stuff over the weekend. At this president, I tell you, there's never a dull moment, right? Right. So, never a dull moment. People were expecting a gap up. I'm like, well, we're going to have to gap 40 points, and I don't think there's enough people at work to gap it. All right. So I'm looking at 69.05 quarter, which is just right here. Right? Let's see if we could take out this stop and this stop. The people who are long above that should start puking out of it. Okay? Let's see. I always like to sit and watch a market before I trade it. I find that I find it really helps sort of it helps me understand what the business is doing. And right now, there's that bid at 6906, right? As soon as we came down to that white line, you know, came down to 6905, 6, boom, the offer lifted, right? You just noticed that. Now, VWAP is there at 8 and change. So we should have a seller under VWAP, right? So it's like a dad joke. Well, I'm not a dad because I'm not responsible enough to have children, Dad. So, uh, but yeah, I'm old. Thank you. Uh, right. I'm a big believer. You know what? I'll tell this story while it's slow. You know, in trading and in finance, you know the people who make the most money? I'll be very honest about this. It's not the smartest. It's not the fastest. No, the people who make the most money are the sneakiest mofos you'll ever meet. They're the guys in a deal who say, oh yeah, we are all going to sell at the same time. And then when everybody's not selling, they sell. They backdoor everybody, right? They're the guys who never go first. They're the guys who let other people go, get destroyed, and go, oh, I'm not doing that, right? Do you remember that episode of Seinfeld where George Costanza pushed all the old people out of the way when there was a fire? Those are the kind of guys in finance who make insane amounts of money, right? So you got to be sneaky, right? You got to be sneaky. You got to be a bit of a weasel, right? The weasels in this business are the ones who have all the money, and then you ask them to borrow $20 and they'll go, I got no cash on me. And they got like $400 million in a bank account. Those are the people who make the most amount of money. Like our buddy Mulroney, we were doing a deal, and it was a stock promoter it was the first time we were using email to do stock promotion. This is back in the 90s. And this guy would bring in so much volume. And we had all had a deal. My client, the Penguin, paid for the shell. But this guy who was running the deal was a broker at another firm. All the stock was in Switzerland. And we were seeing bids 100,000 at 5, 500,000 at 5. We couldn't get the stock over $5. So they're like, go find Mulroney, because nobody could find him, right? He wasn't answering his cell phone. So they sent me upstairs, and I'm like, oh great, now I'm freaking like Simon and Simon. I'm a PI. Now I'm not a trader. I got to find this guy. And I sneaked my way into this other brokerage firm. I wasn't supposed to be there. And I'm looking around. I can't find him. I find his assistant. Where is he? Can't find him. I heard a voice when I was walking down a hallway. This mofo was sitting in a janitor's closet on 2 or 3 cell phones, selling stock and telling everybody he was buying, but he was selling. Now, he made at least $10 million off that deal, right? Which launched his career. Yeah, that's exactly what happened. Credit Suisse wound up holding the bag because Goldman Sachs told them that was what that Bill Wong guy, right? Because Billy Wong went and borrowed, yeah, $30 billion dollars and didn't tell people he was borrowing money from the others. So they said, okay, we're all going to put this together. We're going to have a meeting, right? And we're all going to sell at the same time so we don't destroy the price. What does Goldman do? They backdoored everyone. So during the meeting, the Goldman guy's texting his traders, sell, 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 sell. Goldman made a killing, and Credit Suisse was left holding the largest bag of excrement since the housing crisis. And they're out of business. Unbelievable. So it's not the smartest, it's not the fastest, it's the sneakiest, most weaselly bastard that makes the most money. So I want you guys to be sneaky bastards, okay? Be long-term greedy, be sneaky, right? Let's see if we could get under 5. Let other people go. Right? Oh, yeah, go ahead. It looks safe. Yeah, go. Oh, geez, he got his head cut off. Maybe I'll wait, right? There are no heroes in trading, right? As they say where I grew up in Saskatchewan, a hero ain't nothing but a sandwich, right? So do not try and be a hero in this business. Let these billionaires and $100 million cats, let them go and pave the way. Okay, here we're going to check out this. We took out one stop, right? Let's see if we could take out that stop underneath 6906, right? Yeah, let somebody else go first, right? The biggest, people will ask me, what was your biggest fault in finance in my career? You know where I screwed up? The biggest thing that held me back in my career in finance is that I had a conscience. And when I knew someone was in trouble, I would try and help them like an idiot instead of capitalizing and like tearing the flesh off their bones. I was the fool who tried to help them. Not really smart, right? The worst thing to have in finance is a conscience, right? Remember Wall Street, Gordon Gekko had an ethical bypass at birth. So we're correcting inventory, right? Yeah, humane doesn't really work on Wall Street, Badir. Because those guys would sell their own mothers and send them COD without even blinking twice, right? Everyone I know who's made a lot of money, right, has been a bit of a weasel. You know, you got to be because of competition, right? So we don't have that instinct. We don't have that killer instinct. That's what we're going to try and develop this year, not only with our trade setups, right? Our trade setups, our risk management, all that stuff sounds great in a book. But when you go out there, right, and you're getting punched in the face with these stop outs and stuff like that, right, you have to be a dirty bastard. And that is going to be the focus of me trying to teach you. Yeah, you know, after you make $100 million, you know, you could give away 80 million of it to charity, right? But in you're making money with these guys, right? As my buddy Mario likes to say, with these pendeos, we have to be ruthless, right? We used to have this term in Vancouver. Guy was an RPH, which means ruthless paper hanger, right? It's an old term because in the old days, stock would come in certificates, and selling stock was hanging paper, right, on the unsuspecting poor public, right? So when I first met a retail person, because I never had any retail clients, and they told me, "Oh yeah, I bought this stock and it went from, you know, $2 right down to 10 cents like in 3 days," and I was like, "Oh shit, that was me selling," right? I felt bad, and then I knew, right? I knew, you know, I'm not going to be a billionaire doing this, right? Damn conscience. But I could teach you guys how to be greedy, ruthless bastards. Nice guys always finish last in trading. They always do. Or they get so many scrapes and cuts on the way to profitability that they become bastards because they've been through so much crap and they've taken such a beating, right? So that's what we're going to do. We have the technical aspect, right? We have our AI trading coach. Now, somebody asked a question when I was asleep this morning, and the coach gave the answer to the question, plus a whole bunch of stuff that I don't even think about. It was beautiful, right? So we have the technical, you know, we're in step with technology. We have AI that's been trained from real traders. It's not trained by somebody who used to work the fry station at McDonald's who's now a trading coach, right? Nothing wrong with McDonald's if you work there, right? I have friends who have worked there, right? But you're not a trader, right? So our coaching AI has been trained only by legitimate sources, and it's learning every day. Hey, Kevin, how you doing? And then we have me. So we're going to have the technical and we're going to have the street smarts, right? And once you guys have a little bit of technical information, a little bit about business knowledge, right? Add some street smarts, and then you know, you sprinkle in a little bit of common sense for flavor, right? Exactly. We can rebuild them. We have the technology, right? I'm going to make you guys ruthless, killer, bastard traders this year. That's my goal. Get in, take what you can, and give nothing back, like they say in those weirdo private pirate movies, right? It's the only line from that movie that I really like. What is it? Pirates of the Caribbean, right? Take what you can and give nothing back. We are going to be marauders. We will wait for our opportunity. When our opportunity presents itself, we will execute ruthlessly. Just get in there and slice and dice. Take the money and run to the next trade. And then just chill and wait, right? Yeah, it could be another. Those bids won't go away, Leslie. How's uh how's the snow? Hey, it snowed in Liverpool yesterday for 3 minutes, and then it was gone. That's the kind of snow I could get behind. You have none? You have tons? Oh, wow. Yeah, you sent me a picture. Yeah, we have, like, it snowed for a whole 3 minutes. Everybody was all excited, and then it stopped. Oh, yeah, be careful, Badir, when you, the older we get, watch out with that shoveling snow. Yeah, the back and the heart. Oh, Michael, please don't post that. Why you post that on my live Zoom? You want the Secret Service all over my ass? Okay, this Michael Trader guy, I don't know him. For the record, anybody who's watching, because everybody is, right? You crazy bastard. Uh, what's up, Dave? How you doing? Please erase that. I don't need guys in blazers in windbreakers coming to my house. Oh Lord. Thank you. If you want me to be on YouTube tomorrow, keep the politics out of it, man. I'm scared. You can't say crap these days. They will be up your you know what like boom. Where's JJ? Oh, he got arrested. I'll be teaching trading in Guantanamo Bay if you guys keep this up. I don't think you even get a warning these days, Dano. I'm not going to mess with the law and order of the law. No, thank you. The days of being an outlaw it's not as romantic as you might see, as people might think. Oh, Lord. Leslie, you're right. Look below and fail a VWAP. Oh. Thank you, Michael. Oh. I can see it next week. Live from Guantanamo Bay, JJ will be streaming YouTube. Yeah, no. I ain't getting into that. You know, I was all, you know what? I'd say, I was like, next year is going to be a good year. There's going to be no drama, right? We can just trade, right? But I said calm. And then boom. I was not expecting that. It's like that meme. Well, that escalated rather quickly. Well, you got that flu, Leslie? Yeah, I know. I just finished getting over that flu. Yeah, the year just started, Michael. So, okay, you guys, anyone who got long off of the sixes and sevens, oh, I'm sure I said 6 and 7, didn't I? Sorry, I apologize. Just hanging around with these young people in my building, they say it all the time. Um, if you got long 6 or 7, there's going to be a seller around 11, just so you know. Nice work, Trade Maker. How you doing? Hope you had a nice holiday. Oh, you got to have a sense of humor in finance too. Otherwise, you'll have a heart attack. Let's see if they sell it to the 11s here. Hope you were somewhere nice and warm. So we still have bids that we couldn't take out that low. The low I'm looking at is this low here from V period. And see, market profile is basically just a half-hour candle chart, but we give each half-hour candle a letter name. So that way we could easily reference it, go, oh, K period couldn't take out the low of V. So instead of saying the um, 845 or 745 low couldn't take out the low from What time is this anyway? The low of 1 in the morning, right? The 7:30 low couldn't take out the 1 o'clock low. This way we can just go K couldn't take out V. So it's just kind of easier for us to keep track of where the bids will be. Yeah. That's why, another thing I'm going to say is, if, as the young kids say, if stuff jumps off this year, right, and weird things start to happen, you really, really have to go to the chart, because trying to trade news, macro, all of that stuff is going to be difficult. So put your faith in the chart, because the chart is the only thing that accurately represents the business, right? And the transactions don't lie, right? So like you could see they stopped selling at 69.06, right? That's clear as the nose on my face, right? We looked underneath that little white line, came back up, that candle, that candle, that candle, they all had higher lows. So when you have higher lows, it means the buyers are chasing the sellers higher because the sellers are raising price, right? So that is real information you can use if you're going long, because you'd go long, you'd put your stop here, and you'd sell into the strength of this move, right? That is what you have to, 2026 is the year of trust the chart, right? So what are we going to do? Number one, we're going to be weasels, right? We're going to be bastards. We're going to let other people go, lose money first, and then we're going to execute. Number two, right, we're going to trust the chart, right? Because I thought it was going to be a nice, peaceful year, right? And y'all jumping off right away. Boom, right? So usually a short under VWAP in the old days, Leslie, was a good short, right? Oh, no. The move up due to a lack of supply is created by trapped shorts, Joe. So you just zig when you zag. You actually got the whole thing, right? It's not compared to, it's due to. Do you get it? So it's kind of like, it's like a mechanism. So what happens is the market moves down, the sell order is complete, the size sellers see a bunch of buyers here, the shorts come in and cover, wholesale builds a position, and then that big green candle is by the shorts who shorted down here go, oh crap, we got to cover, and that pushes price up. Those are the actual mechanics. What were the clues? Right here. I just told you. Because you saw bids here, you saw bids here, you saw bids here. So this time we actually looked beneath. Before we couldn't get to it. Now we looked underneath it for maybe, 30 seconds? Boom. Straight back up. Right? It's not, I would prefer a look below and fail of 69.05 because it's at an edge. But I could see that there are unfilled bids under 69.05. So that's what you could expect. Now London's opened. The sellers are right there at 11. Backfill to VWAP, right? No real trade right now. And we're back in these old single prints. So today is kind of, it's okay to go down the rabbit hole. But just remember always, Joe, go down the rabbit hole, but then come back. Like maybe leave a safety line when you go down the rabbit hole so you can crawl your way back up and then focus on execution. Right? Yeah, so that's a good question, VS. The clues are that there was a look below and fail. There's a fail to look below. Couldn't even get close there. Couldn't take it out there. We got here. We did the exact same thing here as there. Right, now, if we see buy orders, the next sellers are going to be just around 12. Right? Do we have enough buy orders that warrant raising price up to 12? Right? Bids are moving up. right? So remember, if you're a little impatient, you're ready, you're jumping in, right? Just remember, not everybody's back to work yet, right? Even today might be a little slower than the rest of the week because kind of people filter into the office. One of my buddies has a friend who's down in hanging out with the one percenters down in St. Bart's, and he said they're all still like, kind of chilling. So people will start filtering back into the office this week, next week, and we'll start going. Don't we have a holiday in January as well? There is a holiday in January. So I've noticed that those weeks prior to the holiday are kind of slow. The other thing too is because the large money managers take a long time to make investment decisions for a new year. That's right, MLK. Um, this will still be a speculator's market, right? Until we start seeing some real buying, right? On a longer term, I'm very curious why we can't get underneath 68.64. I mean, we got close on Friday, but no go. I would really, for a longer term trade, I would like a look below and fail of 68.64 for my size traders, the size and longer term traders. I'd love to wait for that to happen. If it doesn't happen, then just trade according to the levels on the longer time frame chart. There's nothing going on here. This is pure distribution of this. This is being sold up here. So business is slow. Isn't there also a problem with U.S. dollar big investors wanting to understand? Yes, they don't make investment decisions like off the cuff, right? So they sit and they have their analysts look at things and they come up with their forecasts for the year and all of that sort of thing. So it takes a little time, right? Big money moves slow, right? Big money moves really slow. Investment money is like, you know, it's like a big steamroller, just kind of inches along, right? While it's inching along, the speculators will go back and forth and, try and milk something out of this market as much as they can, right? Which makes sense. Okay. All right, we're knocking on 69.11 and a quarter. You gonna let us in? So this candle pattern that you're seeing here, right, is a small distribution. But there's not enough buyers to raise price over 11 and a quarter. So the large traders will just happily sell whatever they can in this area, right? Because, I mean, if you were long 500 contracts at 7 and you're selling them at 9, 10, 11, you're doing okay, right? You're doing okay. Right? Wholesale is about volume, right? Guys, remember all those commercials from the 80s? How can we give you such cheap prices? Volume, volume, volume. Right? Yeah, this is like watching paint dry. So the nice thing is, when you see this kind of price action, when you see a tight grouping of candles like this, you can just relax. Just chill. Chill out. All right? Go to the gym, go for a walk. Looks like another beautiful sunny day in England's greatest city of Liverpool. Go get some exercise. Raj must have gone back to sleep. He didn't catch that one. Come on, Liverpool is the greatest city in England. It is. It's the best place. We just cannot get anybody to buy this pig over 12, over 11 and a half, 12. No, I'm not in Hawaii. I lived in Hawaii in the 80s, Charles. Unfortunately, I was an idiot and I left. But and I can't remember. Where's Cisco? He must be relaxing. Yeah, you guys are in Hawaii. Liverpool does have a heart. Indeed it does. Oh, in LA. Oh, that's nice too. All right, we're back down to VWAP. As you can see, folks, there's really not much opportunity. Say you shorted 10 and a half, stop at 11. You might cover some at 9. It's really not, it's not conducive for us. Very choppy. But to be expected, right, AZS? First day back, nobody really wants to work. Nobody goes into work at 3 a.m. Is this the ability to move size without affecting price? No, Tim. That is liquidity. That's when you want to buy or sell 1 million shares of stock, sell 5,000 contracts without moving the market a lot. Right now, this is, pretend you're working like Tim. Have you ever been in 7-Eleven at 3 in the morning? Right, you got that one lonely hot dog going around and around and around. The guy behind the counter is half asleep. Right? It's just a slow night in the store. Right? Exactly. Right? So this is great for wholesalers because if you're long a bunch of contracts from Friday, you could just quietly sell them. But you don't want to sell them aggressively. Right? So there is sellers, but they're not aggressive. Because when you sell aggressively, you drive away all the buyers. Because as soon as you start selling aggressively, all the buyers run away because they're like, oh, cheap, cheap, cheap. Let's get a deal. Let's get a deal. Right? Okay, look. Oh, we caught a bid. All right. Over 11 and a quarter. Can we get a 12 print? Yes, we can. There we go. Make inventory great again. If you're long, yeah, I'm just going to watch for a little while. And my reflexes aren't exactly that great. So I'm going to go work out, try and get some blood pumping, and then come back and trade. 7.5 long. Nice. Nice. Target's going to be the overnight high. But there is a seller at 14. That's fine. 2 micros is fine. Just ease back into it, right? You got to warm up, right? It's like when you're doing bench press. You put 245s on it, you start warming up with 245s. You don't just go and, cold try and bench press 300 pounds, right? You're going to tear something. Remember, the year just started. Oh my goodness. There we go. Beautiful, beautiful. Overnight high. We passed that 14 seller. That means they've seen some buy orders. Beautiful trading, guys. Beautiful. Beautiful. Now, let's see if we can take out that overnight high. which is in fact a poor high. Sorry. There were sellers up there. So there's that stop at 16. And are we going to stop short like Frank Costanza? Or are we going to take out that 16? It didn't, Mars. So when a market doesn't do what it usually does, that's why my guys in the room got long. Because they saw London opening here, going down, not being able to take out the low of K. So that's why they started building long positions here. So usually, what is it, 40 to 60% of the time London goes lower. This time it didn't, right? Which is information that you use so you're not shorting the London Open. Does that make sense? That's the practical aspect of that, right? And it shows you that the bid has moved from here to here. So the level of support has moved up from 6 to 8.25. No problem. You know, and that's one of the hardest things that I had to learn, because you would expect something to happen, and when it doesn't happen, you're not prepared for it, right? That's why I haven't traded yet, because I still have, like, my brain is still in holiday mode, right? So I'm just going to watch. I'll do some test trades a little later on, kind of ease into it. Yeah, so here, the bid's been here, right, all night, since 1 in the morning. Now the bid has moved up, right? So we're creeping, that bid is just slowly, in the old days when we were doing deals, my guys would say, I got some buying coming in, so I'd creep the bids up to make the market look better. So it would induce more buying. Okay, so we're taking out that overnight high. And let's see where we come back and bid. I'm thinking maybe somewhere here, 13 to 12 on a backfill, right? Let's see, right? You know, as you guys say in the States, I'm doing reconnaissance, right? I would rather sit and watch a market for 6 hours and then trade rather than trade and lose money, right? Especially, oh, there's a seller at 17. Okay, we caught a seller at 17.25, right? See how the offer is moving lower? There you go. Now let's see where we backfill. I'm curious, right? Don't ever be in too much of a rush to trade, right? Just chill and watch, especially in a brand new year, right? Yeah, that seller came out. See, and on the software that you're building, Badir, that'll be like something that is invaluable. So when you see that seller, what do? You immediately start selling. Ah, that's not a stupid question at all, Charles. That is the $1 million question, and that is, do you see this little red line here? There's a green line and a red line. They're moving together. The red line is called the offer. When you see the sellers are moving lower, that offer will start moving lower because sellers are competing. Just like when Costco and Walmart have competing prices, they'll start lowering price to capture the buying. So when that offer is moving up, you don't want to short. When that offer is moving down, you don't want to go long. Now, that is something that most people are not used to. But the whole thing about the offer is I was the offer for 20 years. I was always the seller, right? Because I was selling for the insiders. So whenever I saw another insider competing with my client, I would lower my price to capture the buying, right? It is. It's called the bid ask. What is it called? Current bid ask lines. I'm pretty sure most software has it. Don't worry about the bid. We'll take care of the bid. The red line is the one you want to watch. Right? And you'll see what you could do is you could draw a line. Now let's see if the offer offers over that level. If the offer can't get over that level, watch. It's really cool. You got to spend some time watching, but watch. It's there at that level, but nobody's buying it. Right? Let's see. So the offer will come down. So if I move the offer up to 17.5 and nobody or quarter, nobody buys, then I'll bring it down to fill the quarter bids. This is how size is sold. See there we got a print and the offer came back down. So it saw some suckers who were willing to buy over 17 quarter, fill them, and then move down to grab the other suckers. If we get follow through buying, that offer will keep moving up, and then that's what you guys called trend up, right? That's when you get trend up. When the offer is moving down, you get trend down. So when you're short selling, you wait for them to put in a top, and then you start seeing the offer move down. You short, and then you got a place to put your stop. You always want to short the back end of the move, not the front end of the move. Now that you've seen it, now what we want to do, Charles, is we want to train your eye so you see it, and then it'll factor into your execution. No problem. Yeah, they're recorded, so yeah, just rewatch. You had a power outage in California? That doesn't happen very often. I do not trade options, Yazin. I trade one thing to trade it well. I'm an old man, and I like the ES because you could scale it, right? So what I do is I teach you guys to trade using the micro. Once you develop some skill, right, you can start trading the mini, and you learn to trade one market. You trade one market well, and then you don't really have to worry, right? Now, you can trade as many markets as you want, but just don't trade. It's better to trade one market well than to trade 3 or 4 badly. So is this a look above and fail of 19 quarter? If we stick the 19 quarter 20, you're looking for 26 on the upside, which is just around here. I do not trade options. You could use market profile to watch the underlag of what you're trading in options. It'll help. We have guys in our room who trade options, so if you do think about joining our room, and really, if you guys are not profitable, you should join our room. I'll get you profitable. We have a lot of people who are well versed in the options markets, but myself, no. So I think if we backfill to 16, that's where the bid will be, because anyone who was short under 16 would have been using that J and I high as a stop. So when we backfill, there should be some responsive bids here. Right now, we're not backfilling. ODT options cook. Yeah, I think that's a pretty common thing, you know. I don't. You gotta understand. Now, I'm not meaning this. Wall Street. There are 3 guys in a room right now. I'm going to be very honest about this, okay? The people in my business, they're vultures. They're hyenas, right? They're like apex predators, and you guys are food. So right now, there are 3 idiots somewhere in Manhattan or Connecticut or one of these places, and they're sitting there they're building a new product to take your money. So these ODT options, you know, I guess they've been around for a while, but then they start marketing them. You guys go for it, and they're like, oh, great, right? Order flow. Creating order flow is how you create money. Creating order flow is how you create wealth, right? Long-term high is all the way to the Brex previous high worm. Just use my levels if you're day trading, right? Because the next stop is going to be somewhere in the 23, 22 area, which is the middle of this 19 to 26 area that we're in, right? But if you are a size trader, right, you will be looking for Friday's high. Whether we get there depends on how short people are under 69.13. Right now, we've got enough people short underneath 13, 14 that this could keep going higher for a little bit. You know what I mean? If we trap another people, the only reason this market is moving from 16 to 20 is because everyone who's short under 16 is bid to cover, bid to cover, bid to cover. They swept the order book between 17 and a half and 19 where the volume's thin. You could tell that's where they swept the book, right? Right. Everyone underneath the 18 is trapped. So it could creep up. I'm looking at 23 and 3/4, the next sort of price, right? And then 26 and a quarter. Just go step by step, like, subway stop to subway stop, right? Like, I wouldn't go long now and expect it to hit Friday's high. You know what I mean, Warp? Right? Ugh. My thoughts on the news with Venezuela? I have no idea what the hell is going on in Venezuela. So I have to completely rely on what the chart is telling me. Now, in 35 minutes, when the market's open, I'll be very curious to see. Now, Chevron, and I posted this on my vwaptrader1 on X. I posted this along with a Wall Street Journal article that said this company is the only one that's in Venezuela to take advantage. So I've got some levels, and if we could go over 157, I'm curious to see what's going to open, right? I have no idea what's going on. That whole Venezuela thing took me by surprise. Because last week I was going, what's going on in Venezuela? And I went to sleep, and next thing you know, y'all had invaded it. So I don't know what the hell's going on there. So I'm going to have to trust the chart, right? I am not a macro guy. I am not, oh, hey, this is a look above and fail of 19 and a quarter, right? Remember, inventory is long. Let's try a little short here. So I'll short a little bit at 18 and a half. I'm offered at 18 and 3/4 and 19. I'm going to put my stop at 19 and 3. I'll put my stop at 20. Right? I'm short 2 at 69, 18, 63. I'm going to put a bid in at 17 and a half and see if I get tickled on that bid. So I'm short 269. You bastards. They came down to 617 and a half and I didn't get filled. So I'll move that up to 17 and 3/4. Filled on one. Move my other one down to quarter and see if I can get filled. See how I drew that line there? See how it stopped right where that line is? So that tells me, nope, I'm going to take it at a half. So I'm filled on 2 at a half. Right? So there, I shorted the back end of the move once I saw a seller. Right? I covered early, of course, as I usually do. Now let's see if we get that 16 bid. So everything I told you that was going to happen, look above and fail, it took 3 minutes for it to happen. 3, 4 minutes. There's the back end of the move. This is what we call the backfill, right? We take a market up, that creates demand, then we go back and fill in that demand with supply. Let's see if we hold 16, maybe come down to 15 and pop back up. Otherwise, we'll come right back down to the 12s. Right? Yeah, so U.S. pre-trading markets open at 9 o'clock UK time. So everything is we'll see, and I know you guys don't like hearing we'll see. But I am not Madame Cleo. I'm not a fortune teller. And so I prefer to let the chart sometimes it takes time for the chart to tell you its agenda, right? Nice work, AZS. Beautiful. Beautiful. A couple of points here, a couple of points there. That's my first trade of the day. And I waited pretty much the whole hour session to take a trade. Right? So I'm just poking around, putting my fingers in the dirt, see what comes up. Yeah, just take your time. Take your time. You know, as they say on those cooking shows, let them caramelize the onions. Good stuff, Ian. Yeah, I knew they had oil. I didn't know they had that much oil. So we need for more traders to wake up and put in some order flow. Look at that. We came down to what on these candles? Uh, well, our room. A lot of guys use Apex, and they seem to be happy. Take Profit Trader. I don't actually trade funded accounts because I actually trade for some old clients, so I kind of manage a little bit of money. Um, but if you come into our room, Algo Interest, all our folks are on funded accounts, so they'll be able to help you. Right? Yeah. So that one I don't know. Also, Minxie on Twitter is she like goes through all these funded accounts like she goes through there like a raccoon and knows everything about that. So maybe check her out. Now M period's opening. We have some single prints, right? But our room, a lot of our folks trade funded accounts. So right here, there's a little short position. Remember I told you that there would be a bid at 16, right? And there's that bid, right? Right where everybody's short underneath this level, right? That's why there's buying at 16 because anybody who shorted it here is going to be bid to cover here. Now let's see if they come and backfill those singles. There's one. So we got one tick. And you see how the offer lifts, Charles? When you replay this, when you get your power back on, when when you see that red line move up, that means the sellers have seen buyers and they're raising price. So say you were short like 19 and it comes down to that under 17 and you get some buy orders down there. If you have a 16, 16 and a quarter buy order, it's not going to get filled. That tells you they don't need to sell down there. Go cover. And what they're going to try and do now is they're going to try and take this, right? This is where 70% of the inventory is priced. That's the position, right? They're going to try and take this and move it and sell it up here. So you're looking for that point of control. If they can hold the 16s, they're going to go back and forth like this and retail out this wholesale inventory here. So this is wholesale, this is retail. And the difference, as Steve Martin said in The Jerk, it's a profit deal. All right, folks, thanks so much. Come visit us at tradingsyndicate.org. Do yourself a favor this year. We'll teach you how to run a business properly so you won't be getting frustrated. We'll teach you how to make money, earn a living, and keep the money, which is actually more important than making it. Hey, Lonigan, how you doing? All right. And, oh, speaking of which, I am starting a new coaching. I'm taking on new one-on-one clients. If you're interested, reach out. It's lifetime coaching, so you get like support forever. One-time fee only. Thank you so much. I'm vwaptrader1 on X. If you need any help, message me. And we will see you all at the 9 o'clock open. Thanks, everyone. Stay safe. Don't take candy from strange market makers. Bye for now.